Hey, Jimmy.
Hey.
All right, we've got another essay question. Today's question comes to us from Daniel. Daniel says, plays often end with varying degrees of resolution.
Yeah.
With reference to Macbeth, comment on the manner and the impact of the way in which the play is concluded.
Great.
Good question, huh?
I love this question. So how does Macbeth end? Macduff chops off Macbeth's head, hands it to
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm. Malcolm gives a speech. The war's over. We've got peace in Scotland. Everything's all happy, right?
Yeah, yeah. But of course, we all know there's a few characters floating around out there who still might cause us a little bit of trouble, shall we say. And the obvious ones are the witches. We get no indication about how the story ends for the witches. They're not dismissed. They don't disappear. They don't say they're going to leave everybody alone. They're still there. Their influence on this world, as far as we know, is still going to continue in much the same way as it has so far. And of course, Fleance as well. And I love this part of the story. I love that Shakespeare leaves this loose end. Because if the witches are to be believed, and Fleance is the rightful heir to the Scottish throne, or perhaps not rightful, but he is going to come and at some point claim the Scottish throne. So there's that. The Shakespeare is saying to us, these stories never end neatly. They're never nicely wrapped up. There's somebody out there who has designs on power always. Now, you and I have both directed productions of Macbeth, and I really wanted to emphasize this idea of the specter of Fleance for the audience. And as part of the show that I directed, we used a lot of video projection. And so the last image that our audience saw was a huge projected image of Fleance. In the final blackout, we projected this huge image of the child's face that we used for Fleance. So that was the last thing that they saw. So they left the theatre with this idea of Fleance. Talk to me about the production that you directed.
Yeah, look, I was also very interested in this idea of cycles, and that as long as there's someone on the throne, there's someone trying to get that person off the throne. So it was important for me that the production ended in chaos. There was absolute mess all over the stage. And as Malcolm was starting to give his speech, you saw Fleance slowly walking down towards him, and then we went to blackout. So you saw that cycle was going to continue, that it wasn't going to end neatly. Also, I'm interested in the ending of Macduff. Macduff has, by all accounts, achieved his purpose. He has achieved revenge and killed Macbeth. But in my production, he ended as this kind of crumpled, ruined heap on the ground, because really, what's he going back to? He's going back to a castle that has been ransacked and the ghosts of his wife and family. So it's certainly not a neat ending for him. And even for Malcolm, in that final speech, I think it's important to notice, and often this final speech is cut from productions, but I kept some of it because he starts to talk about the recriminations, and he starts to talk about the people that he's going to take revenge on, the people that he's going to reward. And so that in itself will set up new discontent within the kingdom and new conflict.
Yeah. And of course, it's important to Shakespeare that we don't leave the theatre thinking that we are somehow distanced from this story, that this is a story of war that happened in a faraway country a long time ago. Shakespeare doesn't want us to think that, does he? He wants us to realize that wherever there is power, wherever there is a struggle for authority or for legitimacy, that this kind of conflict is going to continue forever and ever and ever. Yeah. All right, great. Thanks, Jimmy. And thanks, Daniel. Awesome question. If you've got a question that you'd like us to have a go at, let us know. Leave us a comment or email learning@bellshakespeare.com.au, and Bell Shakespeare will answer your essay question. Thanks, Jimmy. See you, mate.
Cool.